Hi. I'll be reading from Drinking from Graveyard Wells. I don't have copies here, but I do have bookmarks if you want to grab one, and you can order it online. So I'll be reading from Home Became a Thing with Thorns. This is about the surreal experience of being an immigrant. So in this world, in order to naturalize as a citizen, you have to give up something that you love, and you don't know what it is until the state takes it from you. And throughout, I use the word kwere, which is a slur for foreigner used in South Africa. So this world is like a hybrid of the USA and South Africa. So home became a thing with thorns. They take Jabu's eyes on a Tuesday morning. The snowflakes fall with an obscene tenderness outside. We're inside a sterile government building that looks like a cross between a DMV and a church. The building seems to be designed to keep any warmth out, lest the kweres inside get comfortable. It is the kind of cold that takes hold of your bones and refuses to let go. My friend Jabu is a painter. With the stroke of a brush, he can put rainbows to shame. He likes to paint our homeland, the beautiful blue sky we left behind when home became a thing with thorns. The naturalization priest lays a hand over Jabu's eyes, and just like that, Jabu's beautiful brown eyes vanish, as if they've never existed. The spot where his eyes used to be is as smooth as an arm. Jabu collapses to the ground and retches on all fours into a plastic bin. Jabu isn't the first to vomit during a naturalization ceremony, so the priests always have those little plastic bins stationed at every corner of the building. The naturalization priest's face sours, like it might if he spotted a fat rat scurrying into his kitchen. Jabu retches until there's nothing left to come out of him anymore. He dry heaves and wails for the rest of the ceremony. He can't even cry. They took his eyes. One never knows what the naturalization priests are going to take from a kwere. The only thing that we do know is that they will take something that you love. I remember my conversation with Jabu before the ceremony. I won't be a kwere anymore, he'd said, his eyes lighting up at the prospect of his dreams coming together like pieces of a puzzle to a decent life. When I'm a citizen, I will take shift at the power plant during the day and then paint at night. I'll save up to open up my own gallery. You'll see. I can't wait to brag to everyone that I have a friend with a gallery, I said. I watch Jabu on the floor now. The wretched of the earth are not meant to make art. We're supposed to be too busy surviving. The corners of the priest's mouth twitch upwards in delight at the humiliation. Another kwere shown his place. Even though I too want to slump to the ground, I move towards Jabu and help him up. Come on, Jabu, I say. Stop it. I know it's cruel, but I have to be the stronger one. I can't let Jabu end up like Asha. God forbid he ends up like Asha. You're a citizen now, I remind him, giving him a squeeze. Forget your eyes. They were a small price to pay. They took, he whimpers, still unable to fully comprehend what happened. My eyes. You can find other ways to make art, Jabu, I say, pulling his hair back so he can retch some more. Others have it worse. Please, I don't want you to end up like Asha was our friend. While we picked up the new language and tried to iron out our old accents like pressing the wrinkles out of clothing, Asha refused to learn the new tongue. It was her form of resistance. This place would take from us anyway, Asha said. Why not hold on to something? Then the naturalization priest took her language. No longer could she sing Stella Chiweshe songs and Leonard Dembo songs that reminded us of the old weddings and parties from the homeland before everything was lost. She didn't eat for a month after she got her citizenship. We found her hanging from the ceiling on a Sunday night. It could be worse, I say again, trying to convince myself more than him. The naturalization priests don't only take body parts and voices. They can take away joy, names, love, beauty, songs, laughter, family recipes, music, and so much more. I shudder to think about it, but that is the price of citizenship. I take Jabu home to the 2-bedroom apartment we share with 4 other kweres, buy him a cane, and make inquiries into getting him a service dog. I will do everything in my power to ensure he lands on his feet. Our roommates know the weight of the taking. They've seen it countless of times. They saw it with Asha. So they allowed Jabu to have one of the rooms by himself tonight. Jabu doesn't speak. When I sing Chirara Mwana Wangu, a lullaby my gogo used to sing to me whenever I was restless, he keens until I can't bear to hear it anymore. Perhaps if Asha were here, she would have done a better job of soothing him with song. Before I bolt out of his room, he asked me his voice a hoarse rasp of what it once was. What do you think they'll take from you? His question haunts me. My naturalization ceremony is in a week. If I don't go through with it, they will send me back to the homeland. I've worked so hard just to stay here, for that to be my end. Whatever the priests take from me, I will just have to live with it. I will sacrifice anything to stay here. Protests rage in the city. People carry placards denouncing the naturalization priests. On TV, a local man with a sneer on his face shouts that if it's so bad here, then go back to where you're from. I ignore the arrogance of one who's never known what it means to have a graveyard for a home. It's the arrogance of a man with solid earth beneath his feet. But I know that the ground we stand on is quicksand pretending to be solid. During the week, I try to forget about what's coming. I work under the table as a burner at the power plant that powers the city, harrowing work that no one else wants. The power plant has 5 chimneys like a coal plant. The chimneys are smoky eyesores that tower over the city. On my first day at work, I discovered it isn't coal that fuels this city. In the morning, a storage truck drops off large containers from the week's naturalization ceremonies. Each of the containers is labeled with a date. We unload the containers and burn whatever we find inside. My mind wanders during the burning as I toss limbs, recipes, tongues, songs, marriage certificates into a giant furnace. The furnace burps and farts out smokes whenever I feed it something new. The furnace's heat is not comforting. When I burn, I think of butterflies. The monarch butterfly is native to this land. It cannot survive cold winters. I read somewhere that it can travel as far as 3,000 miles to escape its death. The butterfly has no borders in its ways, no papers to produce, and no tolls to pay to stay where it is warmer. The butterfly's flight is a beautiful thing, nature itself. Why is my flight from the winter of my homeland filled with shame? When I come across a container with the date of Jabu's naturalization, I am jolted out of my daydream. My hand shakes when I open the lid to find a pair of eyes sitting on a heap of other losses. Jabu's eyes. I reach for the eyes to burn them, but cannot shake the unease, cannot ignore the churning in my stomach. What would Asha do? A voice inside me whispers. Asha wouldn't burn her friend's eyes. Asha would throw a middle finger up and march out of the power plant. But Asha is gone, a pragmatic voice in my head cautions me. Don't be stupid. I quickly glance at the other burners and the security camera before slipping the eyes into my pocket. I immediately take my timed bathroom break. In the toilet, I stash the eyes in my bra. Women in the old homeland would keep their coin purses in their bras to avoid pickpockets. No one ever thinks to search inside a woman's bra. My heart hammers in my chest throughout the rest of my shift. And I'll stop there with that one.
It's such a great story.
Thank you. And then the next one, I think, is a little less sad. And this one, it was called Eat the Rich, but apparently that was too on the nose. So it was changed to The Cannibal's Lollipop. And it's about a gig worker who breeds these flesh-eating ants, and they might consume a corrupt billionaire. So we'll see if that happens. The Cannibal's Lollipop. The ant box came with a set of instructions. Spritz the black garden ants with a solution of sugar and honey at dawn, and again at dusk. Every 3 days, feed the ants steak, rare, the center juicy and pink like azaleas in full bloom. Treat the ants to snacks in between, such as a cake, champagne, and dragon fruit. Under no circumstances open the lid. It was easy work. Every 40 days, I rode to the headquarters with my box and exchanged it for money. I don't know what happened to the ants afterwards. I'd heard whispers that they ground it into some kind of powder. I didn't ask any questions, just got my cash. Ignoring the water dripping from my ceiling, I feed the ants coconut cake through a slit in the box. The ants swarmed, demolishing it a slice at a time. Not even I eat this good, I sing to the little bastards. But you eating good means I eat decent. On my first day with the ant box, I remembered I'd followed a YouTube recipe titled The Carnival's Lollipop. I rubbed the lamb chops with fresh thyme and marinated them in white wine, then seared them in a hot skillet with clarified butter and finished them with an apricot glaze. The little things had devoured the lamb chops in 10 seconds, fat, meat, everything, but the bon oh gone. After feeding the ants their cake, I lifted the box and headed out the door, ripping off the eviction notice tacked on my door before approaching my neighbor. My nasty landlady had raised the rent so high that ant breeding wasn't enough to keep this place up anymore. I've been thinking about the ant breeding gig you told me about, my neighbor said as I quickly crumpled the notice into a ball. Things have been tough this month. Need extra cash. You say it pays good? Ant breeding has kept the lights on since hyperinflation in 2008, I said. Make sure to use my referral code. It can't hurt if you try it. It's free the first time. Outside, I load the box onto my bicycle and ride into town, the eviction notice rustling in my pocket. Thou shalt not steal is a commandment that my gogo cauterized into my heart like a wound. When I was young, she would tell me Ngano about all the bad things that happened to people who became tsotsis. One year, my family were all kumusha for Christmas. My brothers, being city boys that rarely saw the countryside, had gone cow herding with the other boys as soon as dawn broke. As the cows passed by, the bells around their necks chiming in tune with the boys' laughter, I'd ask Gogo why cows had bells and why all the boys around here herded together. Wouldn't they get confused about which cow belonged to which household? They use the sound to track when the cows are out of view, Mwanawe Mwanawangu, Gogo said, and everyone knows which cows belongs to who. What about thieves? If they allow the cows to just roam around, someone might steal them, I'd exclaimed. No one steals around here, Gogo said with an unnerving confidence. She told me about a city boy who'd come back kumusha, stolen a cow, and sold it in another village. Before he'd even finished counting the money, his stomach growled. The sound, of course, wouldn't have turned heads if it had not been a moo. From that day, everywhere he went, his stomach mooed, as if he'd eaten a crow full of harmonizing kettle. That is why nobody here steals, Gogo said. They know better. What happened to the boy? I asked, horrified, my hand resting protectively over my belly. He had to come back, find the owner of the cow he'd stolen, and Ripa, Gogo said. In my confused expression, Gogo explained that Kuripa was paying what is owed for damages done, reparations. Usually there'd be a long line outside the headquarters as breeders dropped off their boxes one by one like little ants marching towards a colony. But today, the single-file cemetery had devolved into a frenzied crowd, carrying placards and chanting slogans hastily scribbled on cardboard. Vuga Vuga must fall. Where is our money? Pasi nembava, panting amasela. I hopped off my bicycle but didn't make it far. Police were blocking the entrance. The CEO dissolved the company, another ant breeder said to me as we locked eyes. I spent a fortune buying organic dragon fruit from my ants. How will I get my money back? The box shook in my hands. I had to sell the ants. The dray grew darker and angrier. I did not move as others holding ant boxes tossed petrol bombs into the building, jumped on top of parked cars and lit them on fire. Police in riot gear beat anyone within reach. I stood frozen in the midst of it all, hoping that soon the doors of the burning building would somehow open, my check for the month waiting inside. One breeder wrenched open her box and hurled it at an officer. The ants clumped around him as if he were a piece of shrimp, his blue and gray uniform swarming with a mass of black. When the ants were done, only bones and the uniforms remained. Soon, other breeders did the same with their boxes. The riot police retreated from the onslaught, the ants chasing after them, an army of tiny soldiers turning the streets into a black river. I clutched my box tighter. The remaining police officers shot live bullets at the crowd, driving the demonstrators back. 3 officers tackled an elderly ant breeder to the ground, twisting her hands behind her. Suddenly, a cloud of tear gas mushroomed around my feet. My eyes burned, and a weight settled into my chest. I broke into a blind run, the old woman's harrowed screams ringing in my ears. And I'll stop there for that one. Sorry. You can read the rest. It's available right now, and that's Drinking from Graveyard Wells. Thank you.